now. Great. Okay. And if you have any questions, anything that you would like to ask about, feel free to put forward your questions in the chat box, and we'll attend to your questions either during the presentations or at the end of the presentation. So without further ado, I'm going to kick us off, and I have the great pleasure to talk to our vision and mission at Sihma, and a little bit about what we're about. Welcome to the other three people who just joined us now. As I mentioned a moment ago, we will be recording this event, and thank you all for being here. Welcome. All right, I'm just gonna share my screen, and we're gonna chat a little bit about who Sihma is, what we're about in terms of our vision and mission. Is everybody still there?
Yeah.
Apologies, sorry. Having a slight technical difficulty. Maybe if I can ask somebody from my team to just quickly share the web page. Perfect. Okay. So if we can just go to the our mission and vision. There we go. So our vision is an Africa where the human rights of people on the move are ensured and the dignity is protected. And our mission is to conduct and disseminate research that contributes to the understanding of human mobility and informs policy that engages to ensure the rights and dignity of migrants and asylum seekers and refugees in Africa. So even though our mission talks to dissemination of research, it goes beyond that in terms of training, in terms of communications, in terms of information sharing, getting information out with respect to people on the move. And it's for across the African continent. So very excited. Without further ado, I'm just going to play a short video that we have that talks to some of the things that we do as Sihma. Great. If I can just ask you to stop sharing, Father Filippo, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. I'm now going to hand over to Debbie Zen. Debbie's the communication manager at Sihma, and she's going to take you through introductions of the next speakers and a little bit about an overview on our communication. So over to you, Debbie.
Thank you very much, James. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so today in this event, what we would like to share with you are the communications tool outputs that Sihma has improved and updated this year. We aim to make our communication instrument available and accessible to for everybody who is interested, and for those who would like to extend their network with Sihma as well, and to whom would like to collaborate in sharing and exchanging information, research pieces, articles, contacts, and data regarding migration, or also to participate to our events. That's why we decided to create this opportunity today to give you an overview of what we publish and share in order to then collaborate also with all of you. We believe that sharing and putting together strengths and knowledge is the best way to make our mission that James just presented becoming real and more effective. At the moment, Sihma has a maybe small but very great team formed by the executive director and Scalabrinian missionary Father Filippo Ferraro, that is also our talented graphic designer. I told him that I was going to give him the adjective of young Scalabrinian missionary. Then there is James Chapman that you just met as project manager, myself as administration and communication assistants, and the priceless presence of our interns that are here with us today. Nolwenn Marconnet from France, Nell Frederick from the United States, Christine Larol from South Africa, and Ginevra Gianardi that just joined us this week from Italy. You will see them and hear from them during the meeting and in the next presentations. As I just said, they are from all over the world because since the last COVID restrictions, they couldn't travel, so they are working remotely. And Christine from South Africa is also at the office with us as well. Coming back to our communication overview, since beginning of this year, Sihma has a new improved website, and Father Filippo will present it, and what is also presenting what is coming soon on the website in a few minutes. And I will share the link of the website in the chat channel. Sihma has also an active blog called Blog on the Move, that publishes weekly very detailed blog posts on migration topics and include events and news. And our internal one will take you through the blog and explain it during the course of the meeting. We monthly release also our press review with a selection of news on migration. And 3 times a year, we send out also the newsletter with the latest news and activities from Sihma and the issue of the African Human Mobility Review Journal. And if you would like to subscribe, if you're not a subscriber yet and you would like to receive it, you can fill in your details on the website form, or also you can contact us on the email address admin@sihma.org.za that we will share with you at the end of the event in the chat. To extend our network, Sihma has also a Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn profile in which you can find new posts 3 or more times per week. about recent news events, and about that, Nell Frederick, our intern, will show you and describe them later on. Regarding publications, Sihma publishes 3 times a year the online journal called African Human Mobility Review, that from this year has a new and updated look. And today in this meeting, the editorial manager, Sergio Carciotto, will present it. Sihma also constantly releases working papers and reports about our research projects on migration. And today, James will give us an overview of them and will anticipate the new working paper series entitled Advocates Migration Brief that will come out soon. We will also hear and share with you some of the volunteering experiences and internship at Sihma with the presentation of our volunteer Christine and Ginevra, who will share how she got in contact with Sihma and how you can also apply if you want to volunteer with us. So I hope you're gonna enjoy our virtual guided tour through our communication outputs and network. And yes, if you have questions through the events, just put them in the chat and we will collect them. Thank you very much. I hand over to you, James.
Thanks, Debbie. That's great. I just want to remind those who just joined us, I didn't mention at the beginning that we're recording this event, and that any questions, as Debbie just said, you can raise them in the Q&A section. I'm handing over to Father Filippo, who's going to take us through the website. Over to you.
Thank you, James. Thank you, all of you, for being with us. And I will just briefly try to browse with you the website. So we have not only revamped the colors and features of our website, but we also have reorganized menus, all the material that you can find in order to make it more friendly user and to disseminate better all our findings. You find this website the same address, www.sihma.org.za, and the first big change is you can see on the top, because beside the English version we add the French, Italian, and Portuguese version. So all those parts that are under about us, some of research, and other pages that are talking about our activities, you can find in these languages, so that we can reach obviously a wider audience. That is also our scope, because we are working on the whole continent. So as you know very well, we have many French-speaking countries and Portuguese country, and well, the Italian is because, as Cabrini, we always have followers from other countries who speak this language. Just here, what James was explaining before, vision and mission of our study center. You can find a menu about us, as well as some news about about the congregation and how we started our work. You have an overview of the team. Here are our wonderful interns who are working with us now, as well our board of trustees that are always sustaining us and guiding us work. About the volunteer program, our volunteers will talk later. So what we have done is this: we reorganize the menus and the material that we offer on our website on 4 big areas that are also the areas of work of the study center, that are research, publications, training and capacity building, and events and news. So that under research, you can find our research agenda, the last working papers that have been published, and as well as the reports and our research policy. About publication and journal, Sergio will explain later what we can find. Our African Human Mobility Review Journal. And at the end, you have also library. You can access our library. You have a search tool. You can search by title, keyword, and author, and access to the material that is available, obviously, on the topic of migration, human mobility. Training and capacity building is the section that also the material that we use, especially in our training courses, and we are still building, so we will find soon more material. And events and news, you can find the blog on the move and the events and galleries with so a lot of videos and pictures about our activities. Final menu contact, so you can easily follow us, subscribing the website, the newsletter, and you can contact us for any kind of inquiries. Another feature that will be soon available, and we are working so hard in this last period, is a new section that you will find under training and capacity building. It's called Atlas of African Migration. That's a work that we are doing in order to make available all the information and the work that the reports that we are preparing on the different African countries, obviously concerning migration. So I will just want to share with you this this short video that will give you an idea what will be Atlas of African Migration. If you access this section, you will see something like this, a big map, obviously, of African countries. You can click on the country and you access a report with obviously geographical overview, the historical background, and data, statistics about forced migration, economic migrants, human trafficking, international migration, and all those data that we generally work with as a study center, and many other links to other websites or sources for your research or just the interest, because this is one of the interesting things. Obviously, as study center, we work with other academic institutions, but what we want to do is disseminate to everybody who is interested in migration, no matter of his level of preparation. And the website would like to be this kind of instrument. Last thing that I just want to show you, because it's obviously part of our identity, is the big network that we share, because obviously what we disseminate is also many times fruit of our collaboration. So the big Scalabrini network, and we are all part of SIM. We are part of the 7 study center on migration of Scalabrini in the world. The Scalabrini Center, and all those organizational institutions, especially international research network made of university study centers, and our partners like Vatican Section for Migrants and Refugees, South African Catholic Bishop Conference, and many others. So all these you can find in our website. I hope that it will be friendly, easy to access, and reach of all that content that can help us to be more updated about human mobility in Africa. I leave the floor to you, James.
Great, thank you very much. You can see there in the chat box the link to the website. Yeah, and so thank you very much, Father Filippo. Our next session is going to be given by Nolwenn, who's going to talk to our blog on the move and events. So over to you, Nolwenn.
Hi, I'm Nolwenn. I'm really happy to be amongst you today to talk about Sihma's communication. from France. I'm going to show you how to access the blog on the move on Sihma's website. This is where you can find news about events, conferences, webinars, or weekly articles, but also the monthly press reviews that Sihma publishes. So you just go on events and news, then you click on blog on the move and events. That's what I already did. And then you end up on this page where you have all the different blog posts. But we just added a new option that is some filters. So if you're looking for events, including conference webinars, or you want to know what Sihma is involved with, participating in, you can click on events, and then you will have the list of the different events. So you would have this one, for instance, the ones you just participate in right now. You can also go on the news section. Here you go. On news, you will have the weekly articles that we publish. So as interns and volunteers, we are quite involved in writing those, and we are doing some detailed research about topics that are interesting to us regarding migration. So for instance, at the moment, Christine and I are working on publishing a series of blog posts on the exclusion of migrant women on the African continent. And recently as well, Nell published a post about a comparison between migration policies in the US and in Africa. And lastly, the last filter is for the press reviews. So the press reviews are sort of a recap of the news that happened during the month. And we publish it at the end of each month. We cover news at the national level, so South African level, regional level, and international level. And we write about reports or news that have been under the radar regarding migration in the last month. So if you want to read the last one we published, that's this one, the October press review. And in a week or so, the November press review would be also available. Yeah, I think that's it. You can look at the chat. Debbie will share you the link to this specific section of the blog of the website, so you can access the blog post and read a bit about it. And I hand over to you, James.
Great. Thank you very much, Nolwenn. We're now popping over to the other side of the globe for most of us. We're going to the US, to Nell, who's going to share with us a bit in relation to our social media posting. Over to you, Nell.
Wonderful. Thank you. So as James said, my name is Nell. I'm currently in Boston. I've been working with Sihma since August. And I'm going to share with you the social media pages we have. All right, so first off, here is our Facebook page. And so we're posting every couple of days on our Facebook. The majority of it is going to be migration news, like Nolwenn was talking about with our press release. It's going to be on a regional, national, and international scale, everything regarding migration. And additionally to that, we also throw up some advertisements for any of our recent papers that have been published or any kind of events that we're holding. And so you can find us pretty easily if you type in Scalabrini Institute for Human Mobility in Africa, or our @name, which is Sihma Cape Town. All right, and moving on to our Twitter, it's fairly similar in terms of what we're publishing. We're posting every couple of days, just updated news and any of our events that are happening. And our @name is @Sihma_Africa. And then finally, we have our LinkedIn, which is a little more relatively new. And this is a little bit more constricted in terms of what we're posting. It's more so just advertisements for the newest papers that are coming out from our side, or any events that we're holding. We're not posting, every single day or every other couple days. So it's a little bit more restricted. We're still relatively new, as I said, so we'd really appreciate it if you could, give us a following on LinkedIn, follow us on Twitter, and like our Facebook page. All right, and then I will turn it back to James. Thanks.
Great. Okay. So now we're going to change gears slightly, where we've been focusing on direct communications. But as I mentioned, part of our communications is also the dissemination, the conducting of research and dissemination of research and publications. And I would say our flagship or our main or big publication is the AHMR journal. I'm going to hand over to Sergio. He's going to talk to us a little bit about that. So over to you, Sergio.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. Well, thank you very much for the invitation. So what I'm going to do in the next few minutes is give you an overview on the journal African Human Mobility Review, for those who are not familiar with our journal. So first of all, I would like to start with why Sihma decided to start this journal back in 2014. And primarily, there were two reasons which trigger the initiation of the journal. The first reason is that back then we realized that there's no journal which publishes research or academic research based on the African continent. And this is despite the fact that there are quite a few centers located in Africa that deals with migration studies. There are particularly three. One is in Egypt, another one is based in Ghana, and then there's the center at Beats. But surprisingly, none of these research centers has a journal on migration. So most of the research and articles are published by universities and research centers which are not based in Africa, but are based in Europe, North America, and Asia. So the first reason is that we've identified this as a gap. And of course, we want to stimulate the reflection of African scholars living and working on the continent. The second reason is more of a practical reason, is that almost most of the Scalabrini research centers, which are located, there are 7 and are located in different continents. Each of these centers has its own academic journal. Some of these journals have been established decades ago. They're quite successful and well established. So hence the idea for Sihma to have its own journal. Now, moving to the scope of the journal, which is, of course, very much in line with the vision and mission of Sihma. And primarily, the aim is to encourage and facilitate a study of all aspects of human mobility in Africa, covering a variety of continental level issues and topic in the field of human mobility. So through the publication and dissemination of original research, policy discussion, and evidence-based research, African Human Mobility Review intend to provide a comprehensive forum devoted to present, analyze, and discuss some of the contemporaneous trends, migration patterns, and some of the most and key migration related issues. And then another very important goal is that the journal tries to promote and give visibility to the work of researchers, and particularly young African scholars who are based in Africa. The journal doesn't exclusively deal with migration within the African continent. We sometimes also address, for instance, the migration of Africans towards North America, Europe, and more recently to Asia, but primarily the focus remain on the movement of African within the African continent. Now, talking about the target of the audience, it is primarily a discipline-focused and specialized audience. So our first target is academics and researchers, both at local and international levels, and those who are involved in this particular field, and are involved in the study of migration from different perspectives, whether it's more socioeconomic, political, legislative, or developmental analysis. But we also target practitioners, those who work for non-governmental or governmental organization, as well as the general public. Also with the support of Sihma, which sometimes also use some of the findings from the article, which get disseminated via the blog, the Sihma's blog. As it was already said, the journal comes out 3 times a year in April, August, and December. And over the past 3 years, we have published 43 full articles in the period between 2017 and 2019, which were published after the peer reviewing process. And in total, during the same period, we have received more than 70 articles. Let me also mention that the journal is now accredited with the Department of Higher Education and Training, and that took us quite a few years to reach this stage. It is co-published by Sihma and the University of the Western Cape. And another important thing is that because it is primarily an online journal, of course now we also have a printed version, but the fact that it is online allows us to reach a wider audience. So far, the journal has been accessed by researchers and people in 74 countries, of which 24 are African countries. So the journal has really a very broad reach. And yeah, then I will pause it here. And then if you have any specific question about the journal, I will be happy to respond. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Sergio, for that. I'm now going to just take us through some of the other publications and touch on what was mentioned earlier by Debbie, our new outcoming paper series. So Debbie, if I can just ask you to share your screen, and then we can go from there. Okay, so under research, we have an outline of our research agenda. We have a series of working papers. Maybe you can click on that, Debbie. And there we have a series of working papers and some summaries of what they're about. For example, there's the one on the left there, COVID-19 and securitization of the South African borders. We always enjoy publishing, editing, working on, collaborating on in our working paper series. So if there's any thing that you would like to write about or explore, we could possibly collaborate there. But that's that. In addition to our papers, we also have a reports section where we set out sort of more detailed research, as well as our reports on certain things. So our annual report you'll see for 2019 is there. But there's also some quite extensive research in relation to the difference between formal settlements and emergency camps. Very soon we will also be, in this report section, you'll see a paper that relates to migration and the impact on mental health, particularly the mental health of children. You see there as well labor-related experiences for migrants and refugees. There's another quite extensive report that is worth taking a look at. And then if we just go back, Debbie, if you wouldn't mind, to the menu, there's another menu item that is coming out. It should be possibly on the 30th of November, or otherwise in the course of next week, will be our first edition of it. And it's called the Advocates Migration Brief. And the idea there is basically that through the courts, there are a series of issues affecting people on the move, and decisions that impact on what the everyday lives of people on the move. And so we created this Advocates Migration Brief paper series, in which advocates will write papers in relation to their hands-on experience in the courts. So one advocate is writing about a refugee protection and who gets included and excluded. You can see there, this is kind of a look at that particular paper that's coming out, as I say, 30th November or early December. It looks at key court cases that there was hands-on experience in dealing with them. The next issue of the paper series relates to access to the asylum system, and whether, with the closure of the offices and the lack of capacity at refugee reception offices, and now with COVID-19, whether one can say that's effective protection. In the examples that I've given you so far, they relate to issues for people on the move in South Africa as a country. But we're also in 2021 taking it broader and across the continent. So we'll be looking at advocates and solicitors, barristers from across the continent, who then going to be giving us their papers in relation to hands-on legal experience with respect to migration issues. So it's really exciting, and I thought I would just share a bit about that. Then just moving on to our training, as Father Filippo said, we don't have that much in this section. We do have planned to do, we have obviously had quite grandiose plans about doing physical training with people, and then the pandemic hit. And so we have been engaged in a lot of seminars and workshops as speakers, presenting and doing some training. But we plan to take that forward into, and we have training set up for agents of migration, as well as training set up for human trafficking in 2021. The other exciting thing that kind of relates to our publication side, and you can see that comes through on our blog, is that we've tried to move our journal publications as well as our research into a much more user-friendly and understandable format. So we're using a lot more sort of infographics and various tools to try to get communication across. And our training is aimed at bringing our research and publications to the people on the ground, because often publications remain something quite academic, and we want to broaden it and make it available to the people on the ground. So I see there was a question that relates to work with people on the ground. I mean, we have done training for agents of migration. We do engage in workshops and seminars, but our hope is, particularly as things ease a bit with the pandemic, to be more hands-on in terms of our dissemination to ensure that we train and capacity build in the year ahead. So again, kind of watch this space. Okay, great. I'm now going to hand over to our next speaker, who is Ginevra, and Ginevra is just going to speak to us a little bit about how you become a volunteer at Sihma and how she went about it. Okay, over to you, Ginevra.
Hi. Yes, I'm very happy to be with you here today. I am currently in Rome, Italy, and I'm going to share with you the page. So I came in contact with Sihma thanks to a friend who lives in Cape Town and signaled the organization to me because he knew of my focus on migration. And so I went on the website and I read through its publications and reports, and I really came to terms with its promotion of migrant rights and dignity and of informed policy and its impact in terms of policy research. So I contacted them and it was very easy, very straightforward. I went on About Us and on the volunteer program, which explains what the volunteer program is made of and in what it consists. And then I went on Volunteer at Sihma. I put in my details and explained why I wanted to work with Sihma and my interests. I sent in my CV and everything was extremely fast, and everyone was very friendly. It's a very good work environment. So yeah, I'm very new. So this is my experience so far, and I'm gonna give back the voice to James. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Ginevra. Now I'm going to hand over to another one of our volunteers, to Christine, and she's going to talk a little bit about the different models of the volunteering or internship program and a little bit about her experience. So over to you, Christine.
Thanks, James. I'm Christine, as James mentioned, and yeah, as Debbie said in the beginning, because I live in Cape Town, I have been able to go into the office and actually be in there twice a week, which has been lovely. So yeah, I started my internship just over a month ago, and I'm working kind of half research and communication. So with James, Debbie, and then Father Filippo. And yeah, so I go in twice a week into the office on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then work from home the rest of the time. But basically, I was ultimately interested in applying for a position as an intern because I have a background in political science and policy research, and I wanted to gain a deeper understanding about migration issues and trends in South Africa and across the continent. So it's been nice being able to go into the office because you just get a sense of how everything works, and it was lovely. I got a tour of the whole Scalabrini Center, so I was able to meet all the heads of the different departments in Scalabrini as a whole, and then obviously work more closely with Debbie and Father and James. And it's been my first internship experience with an organization of this nature. So I think, the element of newness and uncertainty has been quite exciting, a little bit challenging, but yeah, I've definitely learned a lot of things from it. And so mainly what I do is, with the research side, is as Father was explaining, what's going to be on the website soon is the migration policy papers and the country reports, in which data is compiled about the migratory patterns of individual countries across Africa. I think that's been one of the hardest or most challenging tasks so far, because it's obviously compiling a lot of very important data that you have to research and find, and obviously compile succinctly and properly so that the information is effective and you're actually, you know, giving the proper story to people. But it's been incredibly, it's been a big learning curve for me, because, you know, I think I've definitely learned a lot, and the challenges have made my researching skills a lot stronger. Sorry, I am a bit sick at the moment, so if I lose my voice, that's why. So it's been lovely being able to go into the office, because on the first day I was able to sit with Debbie, and she was able to show me through all of the links on the website and the communication side, and kind of how Sihma gets a lot of their news and information and all of their projects out to the world and to the people who need to know. So we were able to show me the social media pages that Nell spoke about, and show me all the blog posts that Nolwenn was talking about. And yeah, it's also been great kind of working remotely, because I've been able to interact with people across the world. And as Nolwenn said, we are both working together on a blog post about migration and the exclusion of especially migrant women. And this part of the series is going to be on the exclusion of migrant women in terms of quality education. And it's been incredibly interesting, because I think the best thing about working in the team is it's very much what your area of interest is, you're allowed to explore. So no one kind of puts things on you. It's all about, you know, if you're interested in something, they give you the space to explore it further, and to obviously go out, you know, and kind of gather research that's going to be meaningful, obviously not only to you, but also, you know, why are people going to want to read it, and how is it going to make an impact to the people who do read it. So normally as an intern, you will write a research paper on an area of interest to you, but because my internship is only 3 months, it's a bit short, so that's why Nolwenn and I are working on the blog post together, and the issue of the exclusion of migrant women is a particular area of interest for both of us. So yeah, it's been a great experience so far, and I've still got a month left, so I'm sure I'll continue to learn and grow in the next few weeks. So thanks, and back to you, James.
Great, thanks so much, Christine. Okay, so we've just gone, I guess, a spot over the 45 minutes that we had intended. I hope we've addressed most of the questions that's been raised. If anybody has any questions, they're welcome to raise them now. But otherwise, while you may be thinking of questions or putting questions forward, I'd just like to thank each and every person for attending. It was so wonderful to have you with us, and to be able to give you a little bit of a taste of our communications on the move, showing you about our new website and our various communications aspects. And we look forward to continuing to collaborate with you. And please do spread the word, as it were. The more we can get the information out, the greater we can achieve our mission and vision of an Africa with human rights and dignity respected and ensured. So thank you to you all. And as I say, if anybody has any questions, you're welcome to raise or ask them. Ursula, go ahead.
Hi there. Thanks, James. Well, it's kind of a rare pleasure and privilege to join the group, and thanks very much for the invitation. I was really just planning to be a fly on the wall to get some more insights into the backstories of Sihma, because I am connected with Sihma in a certain way. I am the language editor of your flagship journal, the AHMR, which I'm very privileged to be a part of. So I've been working very closely primarily with Sergio and Professor Mulugeta Denbabo the editor, and occasionally with Father Filippo as well. So I feel like I've met the rest of the family today. So that is the first thing, and maybe I could also just say something else. So the 2 years of my association with Sihma and the journal in particular has just opened up so many new avenues of knowledge to myself, because I've always been working and studying in development, rural development, land reform, children's and women's issues, and so on. And I have always put off, further studies, but I'm actually starting on PhD studies next year in migration, looking at migrant families and particularly post-94 legislation in South Africa that's been very worryingly moved very rapidly towards exclusion rather than protection. So I will be delving much deeper into what you have. I'm very excited to see the library facilities. I imagine that everything is available online. Yeah, but just to say, I'm really very pleased to have met all of you today. Thanks, James. James is muted.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon. Great. Wonderful. Thanks so much for that, Ursula. I see Father Gerardo has a question, and Father Filippo. I just want to address another question from a little bit earlier, which was in terms of the audience, getting our message across and who the audience is. So our audience is quite broad. Obviously, those that we aim to assist and serve are people on the move, and so anything that anybody who is either a migrant who maybe doesn't yet have information that relates to, for example, how social workers are can be a very effective tool to assist with preventing statelessness. Now, this is something that was extensively written on in our latest AHMR journal, and information on that is would be very useful to migrants that space. But then our audience also is broader than that. It's also people who work in the refugee and migrant assistance space, people who are young writers who want to write and get information about that brings dignity to people on the move. All of these are our audience. People who would like to collaborate and partner. I don't know if Father Filippo, you would like to add to that, but as I say, all of these are our audience.
Yes, I think that's, we intend our work and our mission to be like a kind of bridge between the academic research and the reflection on migration, the phenomenon, migratory phenomenon, and also those who are the real actors that are the migrants. And so, especially our interest in the narrative of migration is and how media, and not only media, are portraying migration, because I think that's especially here in our Southern Africa context, we can give a big contribution to the condition of migrants, starting from this point, and also involving them, because I mean, we want to make migrants and refugees the first actors and those who can change the situation.
Perfect. Thanks very much. Over to you, Father Gerardo. I see you have a question.
Thank you, James. More than a question, is just to underline the impact that Sihma is having now in the every time longer audience that is reaching out in different countries. In the from the perspective of our congregation, that this Saturday we are having our anniversary, 130 years, is really a remarkable way to celebrate and look this beautiful expansion. So I want to congratulate Father Filippo and all the team for what you are really getting through Sihma. And especially for us as a Scalabrinian congregation, now looking for ways to expand in other countries in Africa. this will be a wonderful tool, especially the communication tools that you just presented all through this in this conference. Really is very important for us to link on it and to be able to reach out more people in our congregation, the Scalabrinian community. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Father Gerardo, for your comments there and contribution. Okay. On that note, as I say, thank you to you all for your participation, and we look forward to engaging and communicating with you in future as we continue with communications on the move. Thank you to you all. Good day.
Thank you.